ॐ दक्षिणास्य समारम्भा शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमा अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ता स्मर्या गुरुपरम्परा श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। परिज्ञानाश्रम श्रीगुरुशङ्कर परिज्ञानाश्रम शङ्कर सद्गुरु केशववामन कृष्ण पाण्डुरङ्ग आनन्द परिज्ञान गुरु सद्योजात शङ्कर सद्गुरु गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुराः सुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः. So in the 12th chapter, Lord Krishna is explaining to Arjuna what really the meaning of bhakti is. Bhakti, as we already discussed in the last two sessions, is not a separate sadhana by itself, but it is the very life of every sadhana. It is the very adhishtanam of every sadhana. That is, in a mumukshu's sadhana sopana, or in a mumukshu's, the ladder of sadhana, we saw that Bhagwan himself explains Karma Yoga as the very first step, Upasana Yoga as the second step, and Jnana Yoga as the third step. And Bhagwan says that ultimately, what is it that gives the mumukshu his goal? The goal is what? Moksha Prapti. What ultimately gives that, where the goal is reached by the mumukshu, it is only by jnanam, only by this knowledge. Jiva Brahma Abheda Jnanam alone is moksha karakam. And Jnana Yoga is the final step. Whereas to prepare the intellect, to prepare the mind for this Jnana Yoga, one has to go through the sadhanas of Karma Yoga and Upasana Yoga. Karma Yogena Chitta Shuddhihi, Upasana Yogena Chitta Naishchalyam, Jnana Yogena Jnana Praptihi. That is how the actual, you know, the the life, or the sadhana of a mumukshu goes. And then we have to understand that in all these three steps, bhakti is not something which is separate. Bhakti is that which is the very life, which is the very thread which passes through all these sadhanas. See, to be a karma yogi, one has to be a bhakta. What is karma yoga? I am doing arpana, or I am offering all my actions to Ishvara. Either it is Ekarupa Ishvara or Vishwarupa Ishvara, as we have been already discussing in the last two sessions. So, Ishvara Arpana Buddhya, if I have to do all my karma, then I have to be a bhakta. I may be a Ishta, Devata, Ekarupa Ishvara Bhakta, or later on as an upasaka, I may be a Vishwarupa Ishvara Bhakta. Whatever it may be. As a Karma Yogi, I have to be a Bhakta. As an Upasana Yogi, my Upasya is Ishvara, therefore I have to be a Bhakta. As a Jnana Yogi is my Dheya Vastu. What is to be known is the very Swarupam of Ishvara and the Abhedam between me and Ishvara. Therefore, tell me in which stage or in which step of mumukshu sadhana bhakti is not there. Bhakti is that rasa which is there at every step, in every step of the mumukshu sadhana. And what Arjuna asked in the beginning of this chapter was, you know, something which was born out of a great confusion. Arjuna wanted to know which of these bhaktas is great, whether a Saguna Upasaka or a Saguna Bhakta in the form of an Ekarupa Ishvara Bhakta or a Vishwarupa Ishvara Bhakta is great, Yoga Vittama, he said. Or is it a Jnana Yogi or a Nirguna Ishvara Upasaka or Bhakta who is great? Now it's a very, it's the question itself is wrong. As I explained last time, if a high school student says that I want to become a doctor, so what is more important for me? Medical college is important or high school is important? So how should that child be answered? I said last time that let the medical college be there wherever it is for the time being. Hey child, right now your high school is great for you. This is where you need to be. But remember, if you want to be a doctor, it's only going to medical college will make you a doctor. So here also what Krishna is saying is, hey Arjuna, you know, a Saguna Ishvara Upasaka is a Yoga Vittama. He's great, no doubt. But understand also, Arjuna, that it is only this Nirguna Ishvara Upasana or Jnana Yoga which ultimately takes the mumukshu to his goal of moksha. Therefore, Arjuna, there is no choice. There is no choice between Saguna Ishvara Upasana or Saguna Ishvara Bhakti and Nirguna Ishvara Bhakti or what we call as the Brahma Upasana. These people, Jnana Yogis, are called as Akshara Upasakas, as I told you in the last session. Bhagwan Shankaracharya himself says that how can we call a person who's trying to understand the very nature of Brahman as an Upasaka? Yes, he can also be called as an Upasaka. Though our understanding is that there should be a name and form in the form of an Ekarupa Ishvara or Vishwarupa for Upasana. But Acharya says that even Brahma Vichara, Nirguna Brahma Vichara is also Upasana only. And these people, the Jnana Yogis, are called as Akshara Upasakas. It is only the Akshara Upasakas who will ultimately find their goal, they'll reach where they have already made their Purushartha Nishchaya. Purushartha Nishchaya of moksha for these moksha Purusharthis. It is ultimately this Nirguna Ishvara Upasana or Akshara Upasana alone which leads a mumukshu to moksha. But till then, there is a need to prepare oneself with Saguna Ishvara Bhakti in the form of Ekarupa Ishvara and Vishwarupa Ishvara Upasana. And Karma Yoga involves both. As a Ishtadevata, in the initial stages, as a Karma Yogi, I can offer all my actions, Ishwararpana Buddhya, to my Ishtadevata and receive all the Karma Phalas as the prasada of my Ishtadevata. And later on, when the Mumukshu comes to the stage of Upasana, and when he has developed or has got sufficient of chitta naischalyam and chitta vishalata to understand the whole manifestation as nothing but the manifestation of Ishvara, Vishwarupa Ishvara Darshanam, which we saw in the 10th chapter and in the 11th chapter, both the chapters. When a person has prepared his intellect, for that, the same karma yogi becomes an upasaka in the form of offering all the actions to the Vishwarupa Ishvara. And that is what we saw in the last session. So the third, fourth, and the fifth verses talked about what? The highest level of upasana, which is Nirguna Upasana or Akshara Upasana, as told by Bhagwan Krishna himself. And then what did he say? In the fifth shloka, he said, look, Arjuna, Akshara Upasana is not that easy. Unless you have prepared yourself for this Akshara Upasana, it is not easy, because क्लेशोधिकरः तेषाम् अधिकतरः क्लेशः तेषाम्. For whom? These nirguna Ishvara upasakas or Akshara upasakas. There are lot of difficulties. There are lot of obstacles, because the upasana is on something which is avyaktam, that which is not available for words, that which is not available for our indriyas, achintyam, that which is not available for objectification by my mind, that which is sukshmat sukshmataram nityam sarvagatam. It is not very easy for an unprepared mind to grasp this and continue Akshara Upasana. Therefore, what should you do, Arjuna? Though that is the highest level of Upasana, and that is the penultimate step from where the mumukshu really becomes a jnani, a sthita prajna. But it is not that easy. And if you are not prepared, what do you do? I will tell you how to prepare yourself for that ultimate step of jnana yoga or akshara upasana. That is to come down one step to Vishwarupa Ishvara Upasana. And what did we see in the last session? We saw the sixth verse, seventh verse, and the eighth verse, which Lord Krishna talked about in the form of Vishwarupa Ishvara Upasana, where he said in the sixth verse, Yetu sarvani karmani mai sanyasya matparaha. So, these Vishwarupa Upasakas, what do? They offer, they surrender all their actions to me, the Vishwarupa Ishvara. They take me, the Vishwarupa Ishvara, as the Alambanam. How do you know? How do you know that Krishna is talking here about Vishwarupa Ishvara? Nothing is mentioned here like that in the sixth sloka. Here comes Bhagwan Shankara's Bhashya to our rescue, where he says, Mam Vishwarupa Ishwaram Alambanam Kritva. Mida Vishwarupam Ishwaram Alambanam Kritva Yetu Sarvani Karmani Mai Sanyasya Matparaha. Those people who take my Vishwarupa as the Alambanam of Upasana and offer all their actions to me to be processed by me, the Vishwarupa Ishvara, and accept, receive all the karma phalas as the prasadam of the Vishwarupa Ishvara. They are the people who will be preparing their minds to go to the highest level of Akshara, Upasana, Bhakti. And how do I help them? In the seventh verse, Bhagwan said, Tesham aham samudhartha mrityu samsara sagarat. I will lift them up in the form of lift them up from where? Mrityu samsara sagaras. From this repeated cycles of birth and death. And how do I do that? I bring to them what? Jnana deepena bhasvata, no, that jnanam, that light of knowledge, which was told earlier in the earlier verses. Jnana deepena bhasvata. I bring them that knowledge, jnana rupi, that light of knowledge, which removes all their ignorance and confusion, and they are able to have samyak darshanam, or the quality or the clarity of perception, where they see me as not different from themselves, which is the ultimate step. And then he said in the last verse, which we saw in the eighth verse, Mai eva mana adhastva, Mai buddhim niveshaya, Nivasishyasi mayyeva ata urdhvam na samshayah. Those who are never away from me, they'll never get away from me. There is no samshaya. Ata urdhvam na samshaya. Mayyeva mana adhastva. Means what? Mayi vishwarupe ishvare yeva mana adhastva. Focusing their minds on me, the Vishwarupa Ishvara. And again, how do you know that it's Vishwarupa Ishvara? Nothing is mentioned here. Here again, Bhagwan Shankaracharya in his Bhashya says, Mayi eva Vishwarupe Ishvare Manaha Sankalpa Vikalpatvakam Adhastva. May you focus your mind on me, Vishwarupa Ishvara, and then you will never be away from me. Ananya yogena, ananya bhakti, ananya yogena, which Bhagwan said in the ananyena iva yogena mam dhyayanta upasate. That is, those who are constantly committed to me, connected to me, holding me, the Vishwarupa Ishvara, as the Alambanam, those who never disconnect themselves from me, those who offer all their actions to me, the Vishwarupe Ishware, they offer their actions all the time, focusing their minds on me, the Vishwarupa Ishvara, they will always abide in me and they will be fit enough to go to the final, the ultimate level of Jnana Yoga or Akshara Upasana or Nirguna Ishvara Bhakti or Upasana. Now we'll come to the ninth verse, which is one step lower. Lord Krishna says, okay, Arjuna, if you are not able to understand what that ultimate step of Akshara Upasana is, prepare yourself by coming down one step to Vishwarupa Ishvara Upasana. And if that is also not possible, then you will have to come down to one level lower than that. And what is that? It is Ekarupa or my Ishta Devata Upasana. Taking Alambanam in one name and form, whichever name and form I am comfortable with, I take that as my Alambanam for my Upasana. In Vishwarupa Upasana, I take the entire Jagat as the manifestation of Ishvara and take the entire Jagat, whatever happens there, every transaction, every interaction with every being, whatever is there, I see that as Ishvara, which is the meaning of Vishwarupa Ishvara Bhakti or Upasana. And when that is not possible, what do, Arjuna? You come down to the next step of Ekarupa Ishvara Upasana. And in the ninth verse, Bhagwan says, Atha chittam samadhatum na shaknoshi mayi sthiram abhyasa yogena tataha mamichhaptum dhananjaya. So, hey Dhananjaya, Arjuna, Atha chittam samadhatum na shaknoshi. Look, Arjuna, if you are not able to focus, concentrate on Vishwarupa Ishvara me as the object of your upasana, as the alambanam, if you are not able to do that, and if your mind is not able to be sthiram, focused on Mayi Vishwarupe Ishvare, what should you do? If you are not, it's not possible. Na shaknoshi means if that is not possible, you have come down from the fifth ultimate step of Akshara Upasana to Vishwarupa Upasana. That also is not possible for you. Then come down one step. Forget about me as the entire manifest universe. Forget me as Vishwarupa. Now try to concentrate on me, Ishvara, in one particular name and form which is dear to you. Eka Rupa Ishvara Alambanam, taking one name and form, Rama, Krishna, Devi, whatever it is. And in our culture, there is no shortage of any forms, isn't it? We want a human form, we have many. We want animal forms, there are many. We want forms with, a mixture of animal and, human forms, we have. We have Ganapati, we have Narasimha. We have so many forms which we can hold on to as Alambanam for Ekarupa Ishvara Bhakti. And all these forms are what? They are the manifestations of Ishvara itself. Therefore, he says that Atha Chittam Samadhatum Na Shaknoshi Sthiram Mai Sthiram Chittam Samadhatum Mai Sthiram Na Shaknoshi. Then what do? Abhyasa Yogena. Here Krishna gives a name for Ekarupa Ishvara Bhakti in the form of Abhyasa Yoga. He calls Ekarupa Ishvara Bhakti as Abhyasa Yoga. Why? Because having one name and form in the form of my Ishtadevata, I practice this upasana. So he calls Ekarupa Ishvara Upasana as Abhyasa Yogena. Abhyasa Yogena tataha mam ichhaptum dhananjaya. Okay, so if you're not able to focus on me as Vishwarupa, that is because you still have not prepared yourself to focus one pointedly on one particular name and form. So come down one more level. There's nothing wrong. Nobody is superior or inferior. It all depends upon the mumukshu's state of the mind, the level at which his mind is. Just because Arupa or Nirguna Ishvara Upasana or Akshara Upasana gives me moksha, and that is my ultimate goal, I cannot jump up straight away to that level and say, yes, I'm going to get jnanam and you know reach my goal. That is not possible. I have to go step by step. If fifth step is not possible, come down to fourth step. Fourth step also is not possible, come down to the third step. And third step is what? Abhyasa yoga. What is this Abhyasa yoga? Ekasmin nalambane sarvatah samahritya. Bhagwan Acharya says here, I'm taking a lot of references from Bhagwan Shankara's Bhashya in this chapter particularly, only because there can be a lot of misunderstandings and confusions about what Bhagwan is saying. Now, Bhagwan says Abhyasa Yoga. What is this Abhyasa Yoga? Anybody can interpret it in any way they want. Therefore, it has to be authentically, pramanikataya, it should be interpreted. So, if I say in this session, when Krishna says Abhyasa Yoga, he means Ekarupa Ishvara Bhakti. Many of you may wonder, how do you know that? How can you say that? What makes you say that Abhyasa Yoga is Ekarupa Ishvara Bhakti? There we go to the Bhashya, where clearly he says, Abhyasa Yogena Chittasya Ekasmin Nalambane. In one Nalambanam, in one name and form, may you focus your attention and prepare your mind for the higher step of Vishwarupa Darshana, then or Vishwarupa Upasana. Now, there may be somebody who says that even Ishta Devata Upasana, focusing on one particular name and form as my Ishta Devata, as an Upasya is also not possible for me. Then what should I do? But I have made my Purushartha Nishchaya as moksha. That is my ultimate goal. And I want to know you, your Swarupam. I want to know my Swarupam. And I have heard that moksha is in knowing the Abheda or oneness between Jiva and Ishvara. And I'm interested in knowing that. I'm a Jignasuhu, but right now I'm incapable of Akshara Upasana also. I'm not prepared for Vishwarupa Upasana also. I'm incapable of Ekarupa Ishvara Upasana also because my mind is not able to focus on even one single specific form or one alambanam. Then what do I do? In such a case, what do I do? Then Krishna goes to the 10th verse. And what does he say in the 10th verse? Abhyasepya samarthosi matkarma paramo bhava madarthamapi karmani kurvan siddhimavapsyasi. Arjuna, even Ekarupa Ishvara Upasana is not possible for you? Fine. Come down one step to Karma Yoga. Okay, be a karma yogi for the present, one step down. So abhyase api asamarthosi, abhyasa yoge api asamarthosi means what? You are incapable of focusing on even ekarupa ishvara upasana. Can't sit for 5 minutes also and focus on your ishtadevata and japa. Can't sit for 5 minutes also or a few minutes also to think and focus on your ishtadevata. But there is that Purushartha Nishchaya in me. I have to really understand what Bhagwan is talking about moksha, then what do I do? So Krishna, with all his anukampa, what does he say? All his karuna and anukampa, he says, Abhyase api asamarthosi, Abhyasa yoge api asamarthosi. You are even incapable, asamartha, in even Ekarupa Ishvara Upasana. What do you do? Forget about Upasana. Come down to the level of Karma Yoga. And what do you do? Mat Karma Paramo Bhava. To me, the Ishta Devata, don't sit for Upasana, but you have an Ishta Devata. You have a one name and form as an Alambanam. Offer all your karmas to me, whether they are Vaidika karmas, whether they are Laukika karmas, whatever kind of karma it may be, whatever kind of a vyavahara it may be that you are doing with the Jagat, offer them to me, Ishwararpana Buddhya. Do all that as if it's a worship. Whatever action you're doing, may that be a worship to me. Offer all your karmas. What is the meaning of offering all my karmas? Can I say that, okay, I offer? No. That bhavana in one's mind. What is that bhavana? Yes, I'm doing this particular karma now. I offer it to you, O Bhagwan, to my Ishtadevata. Hey Rama, hey Devi, hey Ganapati, my Ishtadevata. Right now I'm incapable of even sitting for a few minutes and focusing and concentrating on you. But what I can do at present is think of you in every action and in my thoughts as a bhavana. I offer every action that I do to you, my Ishtadevata. Therefore, Mat Karma Paramo Bhava. May you offer all your actions to me. And Madarthamapi Karmani Kurvan Siddhim Avapsyasi. Okay. This is meant basically for which person now? Ekarupa Ishvara Bhakti or Abhyasa Yoga is not possible. What does it mean? A person who is a very Rajoguna Pradhana individual, a person who cannot sit for even a short time because his body is extremely chanchala. His mind is rajoguna pradhana. There is not yet sufficient sattva guna to concentrate and focus on one particular object of upasana, whatever it may be. So, you may be a rajoguna pradhana individual. All the time, the body is involved in movement. All the time, the mind is looking for something to do. Therefore, for you, a Rajoguna Pradhana individual, even Ekarupa Ishvara Upasana, what is called as Abhyasa Yoga by Bhagwan Krishna, is not possible. Then what do? Madhartham api karmani kurvan. Do all your actions, do your puja, do whatever you are doing, whatever your role is in this, you know, in this society, play your role, do what you have to do, keep on doing work because you are Rajoguna Pradhana. Doesn't matter. You do all actions, but whatever action you do it as if you are doing it for my sake. Madartham api karmani kurvan siddhim avapsyasi. What is the siddhi here? You will go to the next step of Ekarupa Ishvara Upasana. Therefore, in Karma Yoga also, Bhagwan divides it into two steps. Like in Upasana Yoga, what did Lord Krishna do? He divided it into two steps. Vishwarupa Ishvara Bhakti, the subtler form of bhakti, a higher form of bhakti. Second level was the Ekarupa Ishvara Bhakti or Abhyasa Yoga, one single alambanam in one nama rupa, and that's also not possible. So you come down to the level of karma yoga. In karma yoga also, Bhagwan says, I will give you two steps. First step is what? I mean, not first step. The second step is what? When you're coming down, 5, 4, 3, 2. Now, in the second step, what do you do as a karma yogi? All that you're doing, you offer it to me. Right now, I understand that you are Rajoguna Pradhana individual. You need sufficient Sattva Pradhana intellect to concentrate one pointedly on one particular alambanam also. Therefore, hey Bhakta, what do? You Abhyase api asamarthosi mat karma paramo bhava. Continue to be active all the time. Do whatever you're doing. Don't try to, avoid action and sit in one place and say, I'm going to meditate. It's not possible. Meditation is not possible for everybody, especially those who are Rajoguna Pradhanas. It is not possible. You may sit in one place, but then the mind is running here and there. So, a Rajoguna Pradhana, you come down to the level of Karma Yoga, and whatever you do, have the bhavana that you're doing it for my sake. That is the second step from 5432. And then doing this, kurvan siddhim avapsyasi. That means you will definitely get the phalam or result of this. In what way? You will become more and more and more Sattva-guna pradhana. Your rajoguna gets diluted. The more you offer all your actions to me, your rajoguna becomes diluted. You become more sattva-guna pradhana, and you will be able to hold on to your Ishta Devata as one single alambanam of one single name and form, and get to the level, the higher level of Abhyasa Yoga or Eka Rupa Ishvara Bhakti or Upasana. Now, I may say that that is also not possible for me. I can't, my Rajoguna is so much that I don't even remember you, Bhagwan. When I'm doing any action, I don't even remember you. I'm all the time thinking of what if I do like this, what if I do like that, what if I don't get the result that I want, how should I manage if this happens, if that happens. All the time my mind is still running around, even when I'm doing all the actions. Where is the question of offering these actions to you? Where is the question of this bhava where I think of you when I'm doing any action? Laukikam va, Vaidikam va, whatever action that I'm doing, to even think of you as the altar of my offering, to even think of every karma that I do as a worship to you. Even that is not possible for me. Then what do I do? Lord Krishna, again out of compassion, comes down to the lowest or the first level, which is again the very, very first or the beginning of Karma Yoga. Now, what does he say in the 11th verse? अथैतदप्यशक्तोऽसि कर्तुं मध्योगमाश्रितः सर्वकर्मफलत्यागं ततः कुरु यतात्मवान्. You are not able to offer the actions that you do to me because you don't even think of me. Fine? Because you're so involved in the action, you don't even think of me. The rajas, the rajoguna is so much. Then what do? You come down to the first level of karma yoga. And what is that? That is athaitadapi ashaktosi. Offering your karmas to me, Ekarupa Ishvara, is also not possible. Then what do? Sarva karma phalatyagam tataha kuru. At least don't think or don't be entangled with the karma phala. What should be your attitude there? What should be your bhavana there? I have done my action, whatever I have to do. Yes, I did not remember, Lord. I did not offer it with that. I did not do my actions with that bhavana of offering my actions, my karma to Bhagwan. But whatever karma phala comes, I will accept it as Ishvara Prasada. Karma phala tyagam means what? Accepting Ishta Anishta Upapattishu Samachittatvam. Second chapter, that's what Krishna said. When he said Samatvam, what did he say? Ishta Anishta Upapattishu. Whatever the results of my actions, Ishta, what I wanted, Anishta, what I didn't want. Any experience which I want, which I wanted, or an experience which I did not want, Upapattishu, when it comes, I don't judge it. I don't say, oh God, why did I get this? No. Samachittatvam. Samachittatvam comes when? When I accept whatever comes as Ishvara Prasada. Here also he is a bhakta. To accept everything that comes as Ishvara Prasada, I should be a bhakta. This is the very first level. So, hey Arjuna, you can't even be offering your actions to me. Now you have to fight this war. And I have told you, Madartham Kuru, this Yuddha, okay? Yudhyasva, Madartham. Offer that Yuddha that you're doing as your action offered to me. Even that, if you're not able to do, Sarva Karma Phalak Tyagam Tataha Kuru Yatatmavan. At least, have the bhavana that whatever comes, I will accept it. Samatvam yoga uchate. Samachittataya. Whatever is the result of my action, I will not judge it. I will accept it with bhakti as Ishvara Prasada. So, right from the fifth level up till this first level, there is only bhakti, nothing else. Okay, every step a sadhaka, a mumukshu has to be a bhakta. Without bhakti, jnana yoga is not possible. Without bhakti, Vishwarupa Ishvara Upasana is not possible. Without bhakti, Abhyasa Yoga or Ekarupa Ishvara Upasana is not possible. Without bhakti, Madarpanam, okay, Mat karma paramo bhava, not possible. Madarthamapi karmani kurvan, not possible, what he said earlier. Without bhakti, it's not possible. And the last step, the very first step where a mumukshu starts as a karma yogi, sarva karma phala tyagam. At least give up the identification, entanglement with the karma phala as my karma phala. This is what I should get. That was my action. I did that action. I should get this phala. This much should come to me. This way it should come to me. Let that identification, let that, entanglement in karma phala not be there. Leave the karma phala to me. Leave it to me. What did Krishna say in the 11th chapter? Even without you, Arjuna, all these people have already been destroyed. They have already been killed by me. Nimitta matram bhava. Don't think that ritetva api, without you, this war is not going to happen. Don't think like that. Without you, all these people are going to survive and be happy. Don't think like that. Even without you, all this that has to go on will go on because it is my sankalpa. Okay, you only become a nimitta. So here also, sarva karma phala tyagam means do your action fully involved in that action. It's okay as my action. It is I who did the action. It is my action, no problem. You do that. But when it comes to receiving the karma phala, there you give up the identification with the karma phala. Karma phala tyagam, sarva karma phala tyagam here means not giving up the karma phala, giving up the identification, entanglement with the karma phala as this should be like this, it should be like this, why it is not like this, why it is happening to me, why it is not happening to others, is the same thing happening to others also, why only I am suffering like this, why only I am getting these things. No such questions. Karma phala tyagaha means giving up the entanglement and attachment to karma phala and accept whatever comes as Ishvara prasada. This is the very first step. And Bhagwan praises this person. Why? At least he has started. At least he has started the first step. What about a person who's not even willing to come up on the first step? So, in the next verse, in the 12th verse, he says, Shreyo hi jnanam abhyasat jnanat dhyanam vishishyate dhyanat karma phala tyagaha tyagat shantiranantaram. So he says, Shreyo hi jnanam abhyasat. Jnanat dhyanam vishishyate. Dhyanat karma phala tyagam. Okay, now he says that, yes, Arjuna, ultimately it is jnanam only. Abheda jnanam. Jiva Brahma Abheda jnanam alone that is really going to give you or take you to your ultimate goal of moksha. But then, if that is not possible, even greater than that is Vishwarupa Ishvara Dhyanam, because that is the preparatory step for the final step. Then, greater than that, if that is not possible, is Abhyasa, Ekarupa Ishvara Jnanam. If that is also not possible, Karma Phala Tyaga is actually the greatest, he says. Why? Greatest in what sense? From wherever you are not able to even fathom the ultimate step. You are still not able to understand me as Vishwarupa and have me as Vishwarupa Alambana. You're not even able to see me as a single Ekarupa Ishvara Alambanataya. You're not even able to offer the karmas that you do to me because of your severe rajoguna pradhanyam. Then what? Who is the greatest now? When nothing is possible, who is the greatest? Who is able to at least enter the very first step? So he says, Dhyanat karma phala tyagaha tyagat shantiranantaram. Just try it and see it, Arjuna. Accept all the karma phalas as my prasada. Don't even think of karma phalas. Don't even spoil your mind thinking of karma phalas. Just see the shanti that you get. Because ultimately, this is the very first step. And first step is the greatest step. At least you have started. You have started on this path as a karma yogi. And even in karma, when we describe karma yoga, define karma yoga, what do we say? We define karma yoga as Ishwararpana buddhya karma kartavyam. Correct? Ishvara prasada buddhya karma phala svikritihi. This is what we call as karma yoga. But Bhagwan, out of his compassion, he says that forget about even offering your actions to me. Start with accepting whatever experience you get in your life as my prasada, Ishvara prasada. And what does it do? It gives you that Shantiri Anantaram, that gives you that peace of mind, that shanti, that equanimity of mind. Samatvam yoga uchate. When that shanti comes, when that samatvam comes, when your rajoguna is slightly reduced, you will be able to involve me. You will be able to include me in all your actions. You will be able to see me as your partner in all actions. You will be able to do anusmaranam, whenever you are doing any action. Swamiji, Pujya Swamiji always says, or Shankarashram Swamiji always says, let there be anusmaranam in whatever you are doing. Anusmaranam means what? May I, Ishvara, be all the time there. Whatever you're doing, anusmaranam. Smaranam, anusmaranam. Keep me with you always. Let me be there always with you. I'm there, but you don't know that I'm there. Recognize me. Recognize my presence with you, in you, around you all the time. And learn to offer all your actions to me. And what is it that has helped you to go to this step, second step? Receiving the karma phalas with Ishvara prasada buddhi. Therefore, Krishna here says that among all these levels of bhaktas, a person who has done sarva karma phala tyaga in the form of the first level of karma yoga is the highest bhakta, because this is where one starts. If I don't even start there, I have missed the whole ladder. Correct? If I get on the first step, there is a possibility for me to go to the second step. If I am on the second step, there is a possibility for me to go on the third step. If I'm already on the third step, it's possible for me to go to the fourth step. And if I'm on the fourth step, it is possible for me to go to the fifth step, and fifth step, escape. Yad gatva nanivartante tad dhama paramam mama. Therefore, what is it that is important? Be my bhakta in the form of karma phala tyagam, receiving all the karma phalas as my prasada. Karma phala tyagam is not really bothered. I am doing my work, whatever. If it comes, if it happens, fine. If it does not happen, oh God, it's your prasada. At least start from there. Therefore, eksarva karma phala tyagi is the one who will reach a kind of a equanimity, samatvam, samachittatvam, which is going to help him to go to the next step where he is going to be able to offer his actions to me. And therefore, Arjuna, these are the 5 steps. I have come down. Ultimately, it is the Nirguna Akshara Upasaka who really reaches me. Mama Atma Eva Sa Jnani Bhakta. He is the one who is about to be he is called as Sthita Prajna Jnani, the result of this 5th step of Upasana. Then the next lower, Lord Krishna doesn't name it as 5th level, 4th level, 3rd level. Don't think like that. He's only coming down step by step. He's coming down step by step to our level, to the level of a bhakta. He's not talking to an Uttama Bhakta or an Uttama Adhikari who's already on the 5th step. He's talking to Madhyama Adhikaris and Manda Adhikaris. Those who are not capable of, those are jignasus, but not capable of reaching the highest stage of bhakti. Those who are bhaktas, but they don't know what to do to really go there. Krishna is talking to Manda and Madhyama Adhikaris because Arjuna is a Madhyama Adhikari. Arjuna is not an Uttama Adhikari. Bhagavad Gita is not meant for an Uttama Adhikari. It's meant for a Madhyama Manda Adhikaris like us. And therefore, he says here that that shanti which you get, that peace, that samatvam yoga uchate, you are able to receive what? Sukha dukhe same kritva labha labha jaya jaya. Everything becomes, something samachita. Yes, this is not what I wanted, but fine. I have got something which I didn't want. Fine, it is Ishvara Prasada. I will get it. If I get what I want, I realize Ishvara's role in it. If I don't get what I want, Anishtaha, I say, fine, I will try again. I will do it again. I will learn from my mistakes, but then I accept every karma phala as Ishvara Prasada. And this is a bhakta, the very, entry level bhakta, a new entrant is given all the importance by Lord Krishna. Correct? Every time it's the new entrants who have to be inducted into a course. Bhagwan is trying to encourage a new entrant and induct him into this bhakti sopana so that at least get into the first level of bhakti where you receive everything as prasada from me. And then you see for yourself, you are the greatest bhakta now. And you see now how your, growth is going to be, how your bhakti is going to take you up these rest of the 4 steps, and you will find yourself not separate or different from me. Here, now, what happens with this? Lord Krishna's explanation on the various levels of bhakti as sadhanas, as a guide to bhaktas at various levels. At various levels. If I'm at this level, I have to find out where am I? I'm in the first level, second level, third, fourth, where am I? How do I go about it? How do I go further? How do I enhance my sadhana? Then that is, this is the only place where Lord Krishna is actually coming down step by step to the level of a bhakta. He's not expecting the bhakta to come up to him. He's coming down to the level of every bhakta at every step and trying to tell him, do this. You're not able to do this. I will tell you. I will take you one step, down. Not able to do that. Okay, we'll start from one step down. Not able to do that. Okay, we'll start from the first step. And if somebody says, I'm not able to even do the first step, then what can Lord Krishna do? He will just say, better luck next time or your next life or sometime when your punya has fructified, then probably you will be interested in coming to the first step. So we should be willing to start at least at the first step. Otherwise, Lord Krishna cannot come down further because that is the very first step. And now, from the 13th verse onwards, Bhagwan talks about that person who has gone through this entire sadhana sopana, entire staircase of the 5 levels of bhakti, and ultimately has understood the abheda between jiva and Ishvara. The one who is a jnani bhakta, the one who is a sthita prajna. How does he conduct himself? What is his attitude? What is the attitude of a sthita prajna? So here, from the 13th verse to the 20th verse, till the end of the chapter, Lord Krishna is again going to enumerate what? Sthita prajna lakshanani. What we saw in the second chapter, what we saw, that is from the second chapter, from the 55th, I think 54th verse up till 4 5 verses, where Prajahati Yada Kaman Sarvan Parthamanogatan. From there he started. For about 4 or 5 verses he talked about Sthita Prajna. And here the final, the Jnani Bhakta, who has completed that complete sadhana, that the stepwise approach, and as an Akshara Upasaka, as a Nirguna Ishvara Upasaka, Nirguna Upasaka, who has attained me. Attained me means what? Who has understood me as non different from him. The one who has seen Abheda between me and him. Such a Jnani Bhakta, such a Sthita Prajna. How, what are his Lakshanas? And why does Krishna talk about the Sthita Prajna Lakshanas again and again, here and there in various chapters? He talks about them in almost every chapter. At least there are 2 or 3 verses minimum describing a Sthita Prajna. Why? Because, Krishna may explain this whole 5 levels and what is jnanam and jnanattu eva kaivalyam. But then, is there any pramana for that? How do I know that, this particular way in which I go? What is that which makes a jnani bhakta? Okay, I pass through all these things and I get this abheda jnanam. Then what? What is it that how does this jnani and abheda jnani, a jnani bhakta, a sthita prajna, is there some, has anybody passed through all these 5 steps? Is there some kind of a pramana which I can myself see and emulate? What are the lakshanas of this sthita prajna which can become sadhanas for me? Sthita prajnasya lakshanani mumukshoho sadhanani. It is said that sthita prajna's lakshanas become sadhanas for a bhakta, for a bhakta who is on any one of these 5. That is where I am going to be. So I should know, because I know that yes, there are people who have reached there. There are people who have understood what moksha is. There are people who have seen the abheda between themselves and Ishvara. And that has benefited them. In what way has it benefited them? It has transformed them totally. This knowledge is a transformative knowledge. It removes ignorance once and for all totally. That is why in the 10th chapter, Lord Krishna says, Sarva Vidyanam Aham Adhyatma Vidya Asmi. I am the Adhyatma Vidya. I am this Brahma Vidya. This Atma Vidya I am, that is, in all branches of knowledge. I am the highest, the Paravidya, which is nothing but Atma Jnanam. Why? Because it stops, there is an end to it. It stops with me, the knower. It stops with I, the consciousness. It stops with me, the Atma. It does not go anywhere, and it totally removes my ignorance. Whereas any other branch of knowledge keeps me more and more and more in ignorance. The more I know, the more ignorant I am. I can never say that my ignorance is gone with respect to any aparavidya. It is only with paravidya, it's only with this jnanam. It's only when I have completed these 5 levels of upasana and moksha prapti in the form of understanding abheda between me and Ishvara. You know, in that, as a Jivan Mukta, as a Sthita Prajna, as a Siddha Purusha, what is my attitude? I'm a transformed individual. Nothing changes outside. Nothing changes in the world. There is a transformation in me. And my ignorance about who I am, what I am, is totally removed. Nashto mohaha smritir labdha. That's what who says? Arjuna says later in the 18th chapter. My moha about myself is gone. This jnani, this Sthita Prajna is one for whom the moha that I am the body, I am the mind, I am the intellect, that moha is gone. The ignorance of who I am, what I am is gone. So, ignorance and all its byproducts, confusion and moha, delusions, all of them, they are gone. And therefore, who is this jnani? What is that knowledge which has transformed this jnani? What is the transformation which has taken place in him, and how does he kim vrajeta, kim asita, sthita prajnasya ka bhasha, the same sthita prajnasya bhasha or lakshanani are talked about from the 13th verse to the end of this chapter, which is nothing but the phalam of this jnanam, jnana phalam. After going through this 5 levels of upasana bhakti, then what is the phalam of this jnanam? So the 13th verse he says, Adveshta sarva bhutanam maitrah karuna yevacha nirmamo nirahankaraha samadukha sukha shami. So who is this person? Does not have any kind of a vairatva or dvesha towards any other being. Why? Because he knows that I am the Atma, I am that consciousness in every being. He sees himself. Sarva bhutantaratma. Sarva bhuta bhutantaratma. Okay, I am that antaratma, bhutantaratma. I am the same consciousness, kshetrajnaha, in all the kshetras, in all the upadis, in all the body, mind, sense complexes. How can I hate somebody? How can I have enmity towards anybody? Others may hate me, doesn't matter. Others will always hate. There is no problem. There are always people who are against every jnani. We have seen that. So, there may be people who don't like me, but I have no dislike or dvesha towards anybody. Maitraha karuna evacha. There is only a sense of maitri, friendship, karuna, compassion, because I don't see anybody as different from me. I don't see any jiva as different from Ishvara. Every jiva is nothing but me. Every jiva is nothing but Ishvara. So there's no question of any dvesha. There is only maitri and there is only karunyam as far as any other jiva is concerned. Nirmamo nirahankaraha. Nothing really belongs to me. My identification with this body mind is gone. I am no longer considering myself as this body. Dehatma bhava is gone. I am no longer identifying myself as this body, as this mind. So what belongs to me? This body itself doesn't belong to this atma. What else can belong to it? No ahankara. Jnanena badhita ahankaraha. Ahankara means what? Doership. I have done this. I will do this. This is my work. This is my action. This is what I have accumulated. These things belong to me. These people belong to me. No. Ahankara, the kartrutvam, the agency, the doership itself is gone. A vestigial ahankara necessary to continue living his life is there. Without that, no action. To even eat, I need ahankara. To walk and go out and do my work, I need ahankara. That vestigial ahankara, jnanena badita ahankara, a functional ahankara may still remain. But then that strong ahankara, identifying itself with everything else that is there. So, nirmama, nothing belongs to me. Nirahankaraha, sama dukkha sukha kshami. Accommodative in every situation. Sukha dukkhe same kritva labha labho jaya jayo. Whatever may be the upapatti. Ishta upapatti, anishta upapatti. Upapatti means what? Whatever comes to me in the form of any experience. Ishta, anishta, upapatti, shu samachittatvam, samatvam. Samatvam is for a karma, for a yogi, karma yogi, it is a sadhana. But samatvam, samachittatvam is the lakshana of a sthita prajna. So, he is an adveshta sarva bhutanam, sama dukkha sukhaha, whatever comes, whatever is it. And what is that? Kshami. Kshami means what? Objective, accommodative, and the one who does not want to hurt anybody, even if somebody comes to hurt him. The one who is understanding, the one who is objective, the one who doesn't get disturbed by anybody, the one who accommodates everybody is called as a kshami. Forgiveness is one part of that, but kshami means the one who accommodates, in which whatever may be the behavior of another person, there is no, the mind is not disturbed by that. He is a kshami. So this is the first, verse where Sthita Prajna Lakshanas in the 12th chapter are explained. And this is a very popular shloka, isn't it? Adveshta Sarva Bhutana. So in the next session, we'll probably be able to complete this chapter, because we have another 7 verses which are nothing but Sthita Prajna Lakshanas, which we have already seen earlier in all the earlier chapters that we have done. So with this, we'll conclude today's session. ॐ नन्दन्तु साधका सर्वे विनश्यन्तु विदूषकाः अवस्थाशाम्भवी मेस्तु प्रसन्नोऽस्तु गुरुः सदा सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखमाप्नुयात् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।